Earlier today, we had the Honkai Star Rail 1.3 Livestream, which showed a ton of the new content and characters and all that fun stuff that's going to be coming out in version 1.3. So I'm going to summarize everything that was talked about in the livestream for all of you right here. So to start off, I'm going to start with the new characters that are going to be coming in version 1.3. For this version, in the first half, we're going to have Imbibitor Lunae, who will be an imaginary character on the path of destruction. Xuan will be the second half character, who is a quantum character on the path of preservation. And then also in 1.3, we will be getting Lynx, who will be a 4-star character, quantum element on the path of abundance. So we are getting some very interesting units here. We have, Imbibitor Lunae being a DPS, Xuan being a defensive support, and then Lynx being a healer, which are all very strong additions in terms of their roles, but we'll see how they perform as 1.3 comes out and we get more info on them. So then, going on to the banners for 1.3, the first half of 1.3 will be the Imbibitor Lunae banner, and also featured on his banner will be Yukong, Asta, and March 7th. I think overall it's a pretty good banner. You have Yukong for your support, Asta also for support, offensively, and then March will be more of like a defensive support, shielder kind of character. Then you get to Xuan's banner in the second half, and Xuan's featured 4-stars are going to be the new 4-star Lynx. Then you also have Hook and Pella. Now, this banner definitely is, at least in my opinion, it's not as good overall as the Imbibitor Lunae banner, but having Lynx on there is going to be really good, and I also do think Pella is a very strong character as well, who's a bit undervalued. And, Hook isn't bad, I just don't have very much experience with her. But yeah, I do think the banners are, pretty solid overall. Then, next up, we have the new Trailblaze Mission. So, it seems like it'll be less content than the 1.2 Trailblaze Mission, where it'll just be focused on wrapping up the Xianzhou Luofu story. And we'll have to see how they're going to tie together all like the loose threads that were there when we ended off in 1.2. Next up, they mentioned that there's going to be some companion missions coming. We have 4 of them. So we have The Dragon Returns Home, which is the mission for Imbibitor Lunae. We have Total Recall, which is for March 7th. Farther Than the Snow Plains for Lynx. And then we also have one which honestly, I don't remember how to pronounce it because it had a very interesting pronunciation, but we have one for Luca. And seeing these is really good, especially us getting 4 again, because that's going to give us some more insight on these characters. I'm really interested to see the ones for Imbibitor Lunae and March 7th, since they, Dan Heng and March have been characters that have been with us for the whole game, basically. So it's going to be interesting to get more about them. I'm definitely most interested to see if we get any other hints about March 7th's past, because we've gotten stuff about Dan Heng in the story already, so we'll see what happens there. And then also just getting content for Lynx and Luca, since they haven't been in the main story, is also going to be very good. Then now to go into the events that are coming in 1.3. First things first, everyone's favorite event, the Gift of Odyssey login, which gives us a free 10 pull for logging in for 7 days. That's coming back, which is really nice that they're doing it for every single version. Next, they talked about the Aurum Alley's Hustle and Bustle event, which is going to be in a new area called the Aurum Alley, and basically just going to be creating a shopping district to try to revitalize some of the areas of the Xianzhou Alliance, because everything went out of whack when the Stellaron crisis was happening with Fantilia and everything. And they did announce as well that this shopping thing, they have the event, but the area and the shopping center mini game is going to be permanent even after the event, which is really nice. And they are going to have some, they're going to have its own set of rewards. If you've played Genshin Impact, it's very similar to, or at least it feels very similar to the reputation system. So that'll definitely be really good, and this event will also be giving players a free Sushang. So that's definitely going to be really good for a lot of people. Then, next up, the event that I'm probably the most excited about is the Simulated Universe event, the Swarm Disaster. So, it's basically like they're treating it like a DLC to the simulated universe, where the gameplay of like going through the different like maps before the final boss is a bit different. It's kind of like a chessboard from what they explained, and there's a lot of like different mechanics and different types of gameplay that you can experience to boost your power and like try to interact with the Aeons and stuff like that, until at the end you finally fight the Swarm, which is a new boss, and it definitely seems very interesting. It can like multiply, and we'll have to see how that's gonna be when that comes out. And once you're able to beat the DLC, the Swarm Disaster, you'll actually be able to unlock a new path for the regular simulated universe, the Path of Propagation. Now, in the stream, they didn't mention what the path does, so we'll have to see once that actually comes out. And the biggest draw for this event is that the biggest reward for this event is that we will be getting 2 self-modeling resin. One event previously only gave 1, which is super huge because players are going to want to make their own relics. So that's going to be really good. Then they announced the Space Station Task Force event, which is basically just it's based on the assignments. There'll be special assignments for this event that will give you event rewards. They didn't really say too much about it besides that, so it'll be pretty simple. It won't be a very involved event, it seems like, since it is like the assignments mechanic. Then lastly, they announced the return of the Planar Fissure event and the Garden of Plenty event. So, for those of you who may not know, the Planar Fissure event will double the immersion planar ornament drops in Simulated Universe for a set amount of times per day. Or, well, the most recent Planar Fissure wasn't per day, it was for the entire event. They had a count. And then for Garden of Plenty, it's a certain amount of double rate drops for your Calyx runs. So those are great times to grind up those particular materials. And then lastly, going over some other changes that are coming to 1.3. So there's going to be 2 new Stagnant Shadow enemies coming. So for a new imaginary Ascension Material Stagnant Shadow, where you fight the Aurum, that will be used for Imbibitor Lunae Ascension materials. And then they are adding a Stagnant Shadow for the new Ape enemy, and those materials will be for Xuan Ascension materials, as well as probably some future Quantum characters as well. I'm not sure if it'll be for Lynx. They haven't announced that or anything like that. But yeah, but I'm assuming if they didn't say that, then Lynx will probably use the previous Quantum Stagnant Shadow material. Then also, as they said in the developer radio, they are going to be changing the Trailblaze power system to where instead of a max of 180, it's going to go up to 240. And then they're also going to add the reserve Trailblaze power system, where if we are fully capped up on our Trailblaze power, it will accumulate at a slower rate that we can access once we come back on and start using our Trailblaze power again, which is really nice for players who might not have as much time to play the game. Then outside of that, it's just like some pretty simple changes. They are adding phone wallpapers. The first wallpaper being added is going to be part of the Aurum Alley Hustle and Bustle, which is really nice. And then when you're messaging your friends, they're going to add emojis, all like those little Honkai Star Rail emojis, which will be nice. And you'll also be able to sort your friends lists by certain criteria if that's something you want to do. But yeah, that's all the information and changes that are coming to version 1.3. There's definitely a lot of great stuff to be looking forward to, like the characters, the events, the just basic quality of life changes, all that fun stuff. But if you enjoyed the video, definitely be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. But with that, I will see you all next time.